Hello, everybody. It is the me, GamePing21, and what is this? An actual relevant news segment, kind of? Yeah. So, whenever this video gets posted, at least a few days ago to the day, we now have that Gears of War is coming to PlayStation. And, oh my goodness, there was a lot of things to be talking about here. So this is going to be a smaller one of the videos here, as I'm working on a much bigger project, which will either be already out by the time this comes out, or will be out at least on Saturday, if this is not the Saturday video. So, yeah. But overall, what ended up happening for this story to unfold is a lot of salt. And I'm just going to handpick, like, a few of them and just talk about it. But why are we talking about this? Well, because this is actually kind of an important thing. One of, if not the biggest reasons as to why this is interesting is because Gears of War is getting remastered, at least the first Gears of War, which has gotten remastered a couple of times, which is fine, but it hasn't been remastered nearly as much as some of the other stuff that has been there. It also has things just free upgrades for current people who own the remaster of Gears of War, from what I can tell. And overall, Gears of War is also apparently coming to Steam as well, coming to multi-different platforms, which is interesting because of a lot of that has been like very well received. But there are some people out there who are kind of salty for it, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But again, if you like what it is I do want to support me in any other way, shape, or form, links down in the description below. A like and subscribe is always enough. Looking to hit 1.5k by the end of the year. Please, thank you, and I love you. Let's get started. So, of course, we have from the official Gears of War Twitter account, that being that the iconic original returns, Gears of War Reloaded, is coming to Xbox Series X, Windows PC, PlayStation 5, and Steam on August 26th, which I find very weird that they include Windows PCs and Steam in, like, the same sentence, because that's kind of the same thing, but I think, like, Windows PC, i.e., like, the Windows PC, like, store, which means that you can buy it from Microsoft officially and, like, play it from their store, which is still pretty good because, again, it gives people more options. More options is never a bad thing. Now, what's interesting is to kick this off, we actually have some Xbox salt, and there is a little bit of Xbox salt sprinkled throughout this whole thing, but this one from Mitch Raiscott, I don't know how to pronounce this name, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, said this interesting bit, talking about Xbox franchise given away with nothing in return for Xbox players. No Spider-Man, no Final Fantasy, no Black Myth. Xbox P3 is fucking useless. I find it interesting how he says, like, oh yeah, all these franchises are given away, basically. Like they were owned for whatever reason, and the owner can't determine where they sell their actual fucking, games for whatever reason. Not only that, again, saying like they're giving it away to the other companies is not true. You still have to buy it, and they're just putting it on other platforms because they realize that exclusivity is not a great thing for a lot of, actual games to try to sell. And yeah, certainly, in some cases, yes, in other cases, no. And I think one of the interesting things is, like, people are comparing them to Sega and how Sega kind of did it. But I find it weird because Sega still tried to keep their shit alive for a long-ass time. Like, a hugely long time. That's one of the reasons why they had, like, so many different add-ons for, say, the Genesis and other game. Like, they tried to make it, like, the all-in-one console because they couldn't make a new console for some reason because they determined that it wouldn't be profitable enough. Which, again, that's a different scenario than what's currently happening here, where they're transitioning over to something else. And I guess the transition's kind of the same, but again, saying that you're giving away a franchise when it's just like the remaster of a game from, like, what, 2015, 2016, I guess? Maybe even earlier than that. I forget the specifics because I'm a fucking doofus. Maybe it was from 2006. Regardless. I mean, again, it's not that bad. Like, and you still get it if you already have, like, the remaster and stuff. And you'll also find out people like Lauren Hayes here talking about how, are you sure with this, as if Xbox is, like, in the chair, I guess. No, that's not how any of this works, because, like, no. Moving on here, we have Django Kukrin saying, so instead of remaking Gears 2 or 3, we get Gears 1 remade again, just so it can be used as a fucking cash grab for PS fans. GTFOH with that nonsense. Gears 2 needs a remake worse than a game that was already remastered visually 10 years ago, but what do I know? I mean, that's fair. I would say that he's not entirely wrong. Having Gears 1 be remade again is kind of dumb, at least a little bit. But again, you're saying that it was remastered visually 10 years ago. A lot has happened in the 10 years. And yeah, most definitely having another remake kind of sucks. But again, that's 10 years difference. And Gears 1 came out, what? A while ago as well, like the Xbox 360 era. So remaking it for this current generation actually is not terrible. And also, more people get to play the game, so that's, again, another positive. What I also find really weird is how he says, like, oh yeah, Gears 2 and 3 should be fucking remade right now. And, like, can't just be happy that the game itself is be that. And I know that I've talked about remakes and stuff, and how PlayStation themselves has remade, like, all these things and that they're bad. I'm not saying that Xbox is doing, like, better because they are just remaking a game from, like, years and years ago. But, again, they said that it was already remastered 10 years ago, which means that that's pretty significant amount of time to remake the game again. At least it's not like how they are remaking the game of a remake of a remake. And, again, PlayStation is even far worse than this. So I will at least give Gears somewhat of a pass, not a full one, like a little bit of one, but somewhat of a pass, being like, hey, maybe they can improve it just a little bit more. And also, again, they're bringing it to more fucking consoles, so I don't really have much to complain about here. Except if they don't add, like, the DLCs into all the games at the what price point, but that's besides the point. Anyway, Fox God over here with, I love Gears, but why not remaster and bring Gears of War 2 and 3 to other platforms already? Or pull Master Chief Collection and release the whole series as one game instead of re-releasing the only game you already remastered back in 2015. I mean, again, very fair points here. Nothing too salty in that context. And saying that you like Gears and how they should remaster Gears 2 and 3, and I think that they will eventually, hopefully, maybe. But pull Master Chief Collection and release the whole series as one game instead of re-releasing the only game you ever remastered. Like, again, I'm not sure how big of a thing that would actually be in terms of size, in terms of remastering it. But again, the Master Chief Collection is available practically everywhere right now. So, maybe? I don't know. Very weird take, but I mean, I mostly agree. Remaking another game of a game is, again, remaking of a remake is kind of dumb, but also, at the same time, PlayStation does far, far worse of remakes of remakes of remakes. So, next up here we have Raccoon Station with What Now Xbots. Another of your AAA first-party titles is coming to PS5. Hashtag Xbox, hashtag PS5, hashtag Gears of War. Okay? I mean, I'm not an Xbox fan or anything, but, like, cool. It's also coming to Steam and PC and stuff. It's also, like, you know, a good game that a lot of people deserve to play. I don't know, dude. Levi Nemo here, Nemo, with a lot of annoying people are mad, and it's like, why? More people get to play your game. Yes, that's there's no salt here to be detected. This is just true. Like, this is get over yourself. It's only game. Why do you have to be mad? That's really all I have to say on that one. Kibbs here with, I'm disappointed. I want all three, including Judgment, not just the first one again. Where is my Felix collection? Now, I agree, the whole remaking of the Felix collection would be a good opportunity to get it, but I think that this is also one of the good things because, at least in terms of when Microsoft is doing this, they do it in a way where that kind of makes sense. Because when PlayStation started to release their games onto the PC, sometimes it didn't make any fucking sense. Like, they released Uncharted 4 instead of, like, the Uncharted Thieves before the Uncharted Thieves collection, and they released, like, the latest of some of the games there, but not some of the other games that were in their past. So it's kind of like a in that context. But I mean, I can see where he's coming from here. Saying that he wants all three might get a little bit greedy, but I think that this is also a good stepping stone in some cases to where they can put this out onto the PlayStation, see how it does, see how it operates, and then if they get enough interest in it, then they can put the rest of the games in there. And it also makes sense here in this context to release a remaster of of a game on that. And again, it's the same thing with like PlayStation. Like PlayStation did make good-ish decisions when they remastered the game and then put it onto other consoles or other platforms. It just means that they did it worse because their game was like even more remade than before, and it was just kind of dumb. And this is also still kind of but like at the same time, this was remastered back in 2015. So, again, trying to not make excuses here and trying to be as neutral as possible. TC, Turkish guy, I guess, with so fuck physical edition owners like me, and it's only Gears of 1 which you've already remastered, clowns. Again, it's one of those things where they remastered it apparently back in 2015, and it's been about 10-ish years, so they might be able to get some more stuff out of it and make it look a little bit better, but I wouldn't expect too much in terms of differences in terms of the remastered. And again, seems like this is only going to be for just non-physical editions, which is a little bit upsetting, but again, Microsoft has gone most digital nowadays, but at the same time, like, that's still kind of stupid, but at the same time, it's very weird. Like, I understand the outrage of not having a physical edition. I understand the outrage of it being another remaster because we're getting all that remaster fucking stuff. I blame Sony for that, but that's besides the point. At the same time, Microsoft is doing it in a fairly decent way where they're actually remaking the first game and releasing that on the consoles themselves to like poke and prod and see like would people actually buy this on the console where they weren't able to buy it beforehand, just to kind of see. Doc here says 9/11 for some of the weirdest man children on the internet. I have nothing else to say. Jesus Christ, though, but, my God. Anyway, kind of funny, but not really much to really go off of there. Next up, we have Waldo Keen with welcome PlayStation to the fray. We'll be waiting for you with great anticipation. I'm not sure if that's a particularly salty. I think I kind of did that. It's also, to be honest, like, that's mostly kind of based because it's like, oh yeah, welcome to PlayStation. We'll be waiting for you with anticipation, because they also have crossplay with this. I forgot to mention that. It didn't really come up before because it wasn't really needed to come up before. But I mean, Waldo Gain does seem excited for it, and I would recommend that like people just be a little bit more excited for this. Maybe not too excited for it again, but it's one of those things where at the same time, people are like that. Maffey here says, what happened to releasing new games? Remaster this, remaster that. Shit's getting old. And yeah, I can get that. The thing with the remasters and the remakes and stuff absolutely seems to be getting old for one reason or another, and it seems to just be kind of not doing good in terms of that. We're getting a remaster fatigue, as it were, but I mean, again, this one was remade about 10 years ago, so I can give it a slight pass, a very slight pass, but I can understand where people are coming from with that. Nvidia's XO, I guess, because I don't have an actual name here. Cool for PS players, I guess, but holy fuck, where is the outrage? Are you just that starved as a community? We will just take anything at this point. They said, fuck it, here's Geared 1 for the third time. Laziest dev team I've ever fucking seen. PlayStation has remastered The Last of Us 1 and 2 collectively like 15, like maybe not 15 times, but collectively like 7 or 8 times. And they recently re-released them as a bundle single game pack without re-releasing the multiplayer, so you lose content from the first game. And they've already remastered The Last of Us the first Last of Us at least 5 times, and the second Last of Us 2 at least 3 or 4 times, which is insane. Microsoft remaking a game for the third time when they remaked it in 2015, about 10 years ago, is, in my opinion, far less egregious than what Sony has been doing. I would 110,000% take them re-releasing a game for the third time from 10 years ago when they already remixed it and stuff, saying that it's like, oh yeah, the laziest dev team ever, when the Gears franchise has had, from the year that Gears 1 has released, they've had Gears 2, they've had Gears 3, they've had Gears Judgment, they've had Gears 4 and 5, I think. They've also had probably a remake of it as well at some point, but they've also, well, maybe not that, but they've also are working currently on Gears of War E-Day, like that's still in development as far as I can tell here. So re-releasing an old game that they haven't released in fucking 10 years, which was like an entire console generation ago, mind you, I'd say that that's pretty fine. Like, seriously. Uni-sensei here with the FU Xbox, respectfully. I thought that you were a PlayStation fanboy now. Maybe I was wrong. It's very strange. I also believe that that's supposed to be kids' move, but I don't know. I can't keep up with these guys' names when they change them. One sly ghost here saying, that's it, Xbox is now absolutely irrelevant. Gears of War on PS5 is confirmed. Xbox are complete morons. I don't see another console in their future whatsoever. Just become a software publisher. I mean, they probably will, eventually. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to say, like, oh, there's probably a chance they might release it, but they might not. At the same time, I think that it would be really cool if Xbox, for their, like, final console release, quote-unquote, released, like, a customized, like, Xbox console that you could, like, swap out parts for or something from them and actually make it, like, repairable and stuff, which I think would be a pretty cool idea, just in general, in terms of that. But at the same time, I'm not sure how this shit works, but whatever. But saying that Xbox is irrelevant because they re-released Gears of War on PS5 now, which I guess was one of their last exclusives, but again, Microsoft has been moving away from exclusives, and even Sony has been moving away from exclusives. Nintendo's the only one that's kind of been holding on to exclusives, and holding on to them with an iron fist. That fucking, that's fucking lawsuits that they've had is really weird, but at the same time, like, you can see where. And I think that we can actually end it off with this little tweet here, which I think is the most funniest way to end it off, with Darcy/Maria-chan, did not know how to pronounce that, saying the PS5 will finally have a game, which I find the most hilarious because, yeah, there's what does PlayStation have game-wise that's not an Xbox game. There's not a game made by their competition, quote unquote. Like, what games has PlayStation got? Really nothing so far. And we're already coming up into May, which is almost halfway through the year with very little in terms of that. Also, we got a recent release for GTA 6, which is coming out next year, so that kind of fucks people over next year, at least a little bit. But overall, what have we learned today, ladies and gentlemen? Well, very simply, we've learned that PlayStation is getting a new game, and that game just happens to be a remaster that, has been remastered before, and it's not like it's not the worst thing in the world, because again, like, this is one remaster from like 10-ish years ago or whatever, so again, I can give them a slight pass because it's been remastered before. But again, at the same time, I think this just also shows, like, don't be a fanboy, as always with most of my videos and stuff. But this is just a fun one to kind of get out there for this. I'm probably going to be releasing a video Saturday, and I am having to kind of readjust a couple things in terms of recording specific videos, but that's mainly for short stuff. And at the end of the day, who the heck cares? Anyway, that's my time. I've spoken into this microphone long enough. If you like what it is I do, want to support me in any other way, shape, or form, other than like and subscribe, which is always enough, links down to everything in the description below. Please like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. I would love to hit 1.5k subscribers by the end of the year. Look out for probably another longer form-ish special video essay, probably this Saturday if it's not already out, for Thursday. My name is GamePangan21, and a peace. Oh.
Hey man, can I get a favor? Yeah, sure, I know, see you later. Sometimes I just wanna be a